because there were a lot of Facebook posts, a lot of next door posts, and a flyer that went out about the potential sale of the old golf course parcels, and what might be done with those parcels. Ron Buchanan's here. He's the owner of the golf course, and he's going to speak when I'm done. And I'm guessing a lot of your questions might be directed at him, but we'll see. So on your tables, there's a white piece of paper with some information that I just wanted to talk a little bit about. So as the HOA, this is a kind of voluntary HOA, which is sad, but it's voluntary, which means you don't have to pay the dues, but you do have to abide by the rules. We have 675 homes in Rural Pines. We only have 96 people who paid dues for the previous year. So we are looking, when residents come and want help with issues such as this, it would benefit the whole community if everybody was actually a true member of the HOA and paid their dues and came to meetings and participated. So we are looking to have more people, participate in the HOA. There are membership forms on your table. On this document, there's information about the website where you can register as a member, and we would send out email blasts about information. And this would be a good example of something where we could send an information update via that website. But you do have to register, you have to have an email address, and then on that website you can sign up to be a full dues-paying member. And we would certainly love to have everybody here be a member. Of those 96 members that we have, almost all of them are people that reside on the open golf course. So I think a lot of people that live on the enclosed golf course think that, well, the golf course is closed, there's nothing going on our side of the neighborhood. I live on that side as well, just so everybody knows. I'm on Siegel. So I think people need to get involved, no matter which golf course you're on. And we want everybody to really understand the golf course and the Rural Pines HOA are two different legal entities. There is no connection whatsoever. So anything that the golf course does, the HOA has no control over that. So we're here to certainly listen to concerns that people have, and we have a good partnership with Ron and the golf course to try and do, what we can for the community. We host a lot of our events here to help bring in business to the golf course. And Ron thinks about the community and all the things that he's doing with the golf course as well. So we do want this to be, a good community and a joint effort between the HOA and the golf course under Ron's leadership. I'm just going to make a couple more points here. So we do have our annual meeting for the HOA. It's next month, where we elect new officers. And on the sheet of paper, it talks about which positions are open. So if you do have concerns about the community, not just the golf course, but other things that are going on in the community, we certainly welcome people to join the board, run for a position on the board, and get more involved in the community that way. David Bartholomew, I don't know if anybody knows him, but he is on the Beaufort County Council, and he lives in Rural Pines. And he has a strong interest in seeing more green space in the county. And so there is a potential, at some point, Ron will speak to this a little bit more, about potentially having the old closed golf course become a green space. But there's a process to that, and that's something that, requires input from Ron, and it requires input from the community, and it also requires the actual county, because they're the ones that make those kind of decisions if they have the opportunity. So I put some information here with David's contact information, his email, and he has stated that if folks are in favor of that potential, that they should send an email to him and let him know, about concerns about future development of that land, and then what what the community would like to see, if, you know, if there's a potential for turning some of that space into a park. So that's something that we don't necessarily have control over, but everybody as a resident can provide some input to that. And David can take that, and David's already working with Ron very closely. So that's something that can be taken into account. So we encourage you to, you know, send David an email and let him know your thoughts on that.
What is the email?
It's on this white flyer, and I don't have my glasses, so I can't even read it to you. But somebody can hand it to you and you can write it down. And just one other thing before we kind of move on, and I hand this over to Ron for you guys to ask some questions. We do have what we call a quarterly porch party next week, and the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office is coming out to talk about kind of neighborhood safety, neighborhood watch, crime. There's a lot of stuff going on in the community that you may or may not be aware of. So we've had people contribute some ideas, topics of what they want the Sheriff's Office to talk about. So we would encourage folks to come out here if you'd like to hear more about that. And just come out to, like I said, meet neighbors that you know don't live right next door to you, and make this feel more of, you know, a community where everybody kind of gets to know each other and works together. And now I'm going to turn this over to Ron, because he's the one who really can answer your questions. The property, as I said, the property is owned by the golf course, and it is private property. So Ron's gonna speak and then maybe take some questions. But let me, before I hand it over to you, does anybody have any questions specifically about the HOA in regards to this topic? Have I answered? Yes.
Are bills gonna be mailed out this year?
Are there letters?
For the dues?
Yes, they will go out probably the end of next week. The meeting is, the annual meeting is March 18th, and so the letters should be mailed out at the end of next week.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes?
So theoretically, if this were to go forward, would they be a part of the covenants on these homes? Being that it's private property, would they be part of our HOA?
So I can answer this to some extent. If land from the golf course, if pieces of land from the closed golf course are sold to a resident whose lot is currently in Rural Pines, then that land kind of joins with their existing lot, and then it is governed by the covenants. If it is sold to somebody else, it will not be added to the Rural Pines listing. Does that make sense? And certainly if it's the county that owns it, it most definitely won't be. Yes? Then it would become part of the Rural Pines HOA under the covenants, yes. Because if you're buying, like, there have been in the past a few parcels that were sold to, and I don't know why this was, but it was done in the past, you know, to a landowner where they extended their yard slightly, and then that became part of their parcel, which is under the Rural Pines covenants. Yes?
The only positive thing I saw, you know, affecting the change was that I might be able to utilize 75-foot setback area that adjoins my property and the golf course. I'd be able to reutilize that 75 feet, and that would be a positive change from what I can see.
Well, I don't know what change you mean, because right now that's private property, so you can't do that at the moment.
Setback from the golf course. The golf course would transition into a different development. Would that negate the setback that I'm required to
Well,
keep?
we don't know anything about future development, so I'm gonna let you kind of take that question. Any other HOA related questions? Okay, I'm gonna hand it over to Ron Buchanan.
Hey guys.
Rural Pines people.
Thank everybody for coming. Misinformation is a unique tool in life. I have no idea where anyone come up with that this was going to be a subdivision, it was going to be built on, or whatever. I have a partner in the LLC that we owed some money to. We're moving some chess pieces around within the LLC, and we're deeding him the old hold 11, 12, and 13. He has no plans for development or anything, just like me. We're all still under that perceived covenants and provisions that was put on the property. So right now it's zoned agriculture with a golf course overlay. Beyond that, I have no idea where anybody got their information with respect to it's going to be a subdivision.
Question, somebody told me that, they saw somebody out surveying the land. Did you have any survey
That's
action going on?
11, 12, and 13 are being surveyed, as well as, I think it's 4 and 5.
Yeah, not something purpose.
What?
Why are they being surveyed?
Why is it getting surveyed? Because I'm deeding those parcels off to someone. Deeding the parcels off to someone. Selling the parcels.
Yeah, I understand, for what purpose? I mean,
They understand, we've been through the legal issues about the covenants provisions. The title searches has been done, so I have no control of what they do with it, but right now, they can't do anything with it without going through a formal zoning hearing and all of that other stuff, which, and I'm sorry to disappoint you, but there's nothing on the drawing board from my end or their end at this point. Whoa, hold, one at a time.
Well, my arm's getting a little tired
You're
here.
talking about 11, 12, and 13, where does that impact on Sumter, or where, Thomas Sumter, or where does that, where are those?
It's on Fiddler and something.
Seagull behind me,
Seagull.
behind me. I'm not
Behind
happy.
her.
Behind me, and I'm
So,
not happy.
so the misinformation that you're talking about came from your partner. He met us on the golf course in the golf cart. And your surveyor also is the one who said they were gonna build homes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
now-
your partner had a female with her, and she's a realtor. I have the cards at the house, she introduced the whole entire self.
Page something.
Because she said that Beaufort
Getty.
County didn't wanna buy the property, turn it into a park or a walking
Well,
trail or
again.
anything. And he said that their intentions were to offer it to the homeowners first, which we haven't heard anything from. If the homeowners didn't want it, they were gonna develop it and put homes back there. That came from his mouth and the surveyor.
So,
Yeah,
what?
The surveyor mentioned apartments.
yes.
Again, I have no idea. Misinformation. I have no plans to build on it.
And
Well, but they have to go through the full zoning
I
process and all
understand
that.
that, I understand that portion. The part that I had concerns what this young lady just said, so you've already
Sold it.
wanting and beating out to someone else. We never heard anything about it because it is in my backyard. We maintain that whole entire side over there.
But you're trespassing because that is private property.
Well, I understand, and I even talked to you that day.
Yeah.
And that's when I would have paid the taxes for you. But we take care of that because high school students run back there every year, not 25, 30.
I know
They were
that.
running in grass this high. One almost got snake bitten.
Well.
So we in the community, we keep it cut, we water it, we fertilize it, we seed it. I know it's your property and I'm not asking for any money by no means because it wouldn't be right because it's not my property. We do it for the kids.
Well, I have not,
In the community.
But we
We're
weren't
after
offered
the-
that parcel that you've already deeded out to somebody. The homeowners didn't even get a chance because we would buy it. Everyone, I know at least 8 homeowners that would buy those parcels back there, but it was never offered to us.
well, it wasn't really offered to anyone. He was a partner in the LLC that we have.
You said you just deeded it to someone.
The deed has not transferred.
Not yet.
He is in the process of putting the deed together, and that's why they're surveying.
He's in the process of putting the
Yeah.
deed together. So there's been communications to be sold to someone else
Yes,
outside of
Who
homeowners.
is the entity, Ron?
one at a time.
Who is the entity?
Can the golf course be taken apart like that, because isn't it the zone is one entity?
No,
Ask a question. We're talking about 11, 12, 13 between Marsh
yes,
and Siegel.
yes.
Those 3 holes are being considered for what exactly?
Nothing. I'm deeding them to someone. That's all it is. There's no plans from my side, now I don't know what Brian told you and the realtor, but he knows there's, I mean,
Could I ask
Okay,
you
so
a question?
I'm paid off.
okay,
I live
okay,
on the course.
okay.
I am a real estate agent.
Were you the realtor that was
No.
with Brian?
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
I personally saw Brian. I personally know him. I saw him and a real estate agent out there. I went out there and asked him what was going on, and he said he was buying it.
Yeah.
I said, what are you gonna do? 20 homes.
Mhm.
I'm gonna split it up into 20 lots, or maybe equestrian. Haven't decided yet. I said, okay,
He told me.
thank you. So the next thing you know, he said surveyors will be out here in the next week or two. They were out there on Monday.
Mhm.
I mean,
So,
I can deed it over to them if the county approves the deed. I mean, they may not approve it, I don't know at this point. But
Right.
once it's out of my hands, I have nothing to do with it.
but it's like everybody else said, why don't we get a choice first?
Well, we've had that option, and I think it's been offered to you a couple of times. Misinformation. Misinformation again, sorry. Before, that was before me, I have an offer.
What can we do now? If
Yeah.
you're saying that we would be interested in purchasing the land behind our homes, since you haven't deeded yet, what can
Well,
we do
even,
now?
even if I were to deed it, I'm under the impression that, they might just leave it and put it as part of the consolidation, so we'll see. That I can't answer, with something that'll have to be talked about.
She said
Yeah.
initially that this is your property, and then it sounds like you're the leadership of the property, so you can't.
Right now, it's still in my name.
Okay.
But I'm under contract,
Yep.
deed it over to him. Have a what?
Why didn't you offer to us? Why didn't you offer to
Yes, there's no obligation.
I have no obligation to offer it to anybody.
They tell me he doesn't have an obligation yet. What we're trying to do is establish some kind of communication where we can figure out what can we do. Okay, so let's not get fast about the obligation part.
Let me guess at a couple more things and then I'll ask you one very specific question. We're all getting older, you got life plans to make, you got estate plans to make, you got a lot of things going on in your life. This hasn't been the biggest financial success in the world,
No.
okay? So I get it, I get you making changes. There seems to be a lack of candor about, oh, well, I'm making a change, but I'm not really gonna tell you anything until the meeting comes up. So I'm gonna hold you responsible for that. The one question I have is you say 11, 12, and 13. Yeah, but 11 is a part 3 back here. Are you talking old numbers, new numbers?
Old course, marsh course,
Okay.
coming off of a brickyard.
Now, having said all that and having this level of misunderstanding, how would you like to go forward?
Me? I'm gonna sell it.
Okay.
Well,
No,
No.
Whoever will buy it.
so ideally, but let's just, I mean, from a community perspective,
Huh?
let's,
All right, well,
let me just say one thing, because I want to find out what people think about this, right? The county could potentially look at it, you know?
Let me go into that.
Okay,
No, I've talked to the county, there is green space monies, we've applied for that. And on the initial application, that's the process that, once they approve my initial application, we go to a next level, if they wanna go to the next level. I tried to, get the land trust to buy it, in a conservatory thing, and then they got partnered with somebody, and they gotta get X dollars here and X dollars there, and, probably not in the political stream very well to get things done. So there's no politics with me. So I've tried to move it in that direction to become a park or a linear park, and Mr. Bartholomew can speak to that. He's in favor of doing something along that line. So the other alternative is, and I'm a real estate developer, and I've done housing subdivisions. We built one subdivision that the homeowners, the golf course was there prior to anything. They came in and built homes, then they bought the golf course. They all went in together and formed an HOA, and the HOA owned the golf course. So, I mean, that's something you guys might want to consider. There's 600 homes
675 homes.
in the HOA. Now, I don't know how many are directly fronting on the golf course.
I don't have the exact number.
Before we buy the golf course, we want to know how we can buy the land that's existing behind our homes, so that we can have peace and harmony as to why
Wait a
we
minute,
bought those
whoa.
homes.
When you say golf course, this golf course is not for sale for this purpose. We're not.
We're in the old golf course, it's behind our homes, the reason why we bought the home was to have that view.
All right, here's my problem with that. You're gonna wanna buy a half acre behind your house. You're gonna wanna buy a half acre behind your house. You're gonna buy 2 acres behind your house, et cetera, et cetera. I end up with a checkerboard and I've got a mess. So the only way that I can do anything along that line is it has to be a uniform transaction between a street and a street, or egress, ingress, and all of that stuff.
Okay, so we need to organize, and we have to come together as one to you and make a move. Is that what you're saying?
That'll work. That'll work.
He's saying too that turning over of the deed has to be approved by the town.
It'll go through some process.
Is that something that
No, that's
It's a
just
real
deed.
estate
It's a deed transfer, zoning will look at it and all that stuff. But again, right now, it could still be in place. It's not that big of an issue right this second.
And does that other guy not want us to go and see?
Brian?
You keep saying the man.
Brian?
Brian who?
Gets it.
Brian, yes.
So, question, real quick.
You got first.
Okay, go ahead.
I live on the old 18.
Okay.
I've been there for 23 years.
Right here.
Yeah. Currently, there is a waste wood dump behind my house.
Trespassing.
I'm sorry.
Trespassing. We can't catch them.
Well,
Down there.
they're there every day. There are 2 homes being built right there. So they're just taking the waste wood over the
Well,
dump.
there's a lot of folks that are dumping their limbs and trees and stuff on the property also. Trespassing. And walking trails. The flyer that went out, you have no walking trail. I go back and I've called people, I've stopped kids, we've had kids on police reports, we've had them arrested.
Well, this is
No,
part
you're
of the
proactive,
tree
you're not putting
company.
up gates or anything anywhere.
We put up gates, we put up no trespassing signs, and they're gone the next day. I can show, ma'am, I'm sorry, I can show you where we've got pictures of it. You're so misinformed, lady.
What about the original covenants and restrictions and the deed, the way it reads?
Excuse me?
What about the original covenants and restrictions and the way it reads, that to change the covenants and restrictions, you have to get a majority?
That is for the homes, the lots that represent the homes. It is not for the golf course. The golf course is not under that deed. It's a separate legal entity and it's not
One more
under the deed.
question regarding the dump site. There wasn't a dump site there, when I originally purchased the home. Bartlett and some of the other major tree companies use that as a dump site as well.
Well, they've been told not to, so I'll follow back up on that. They gotta get it cleaned out.
It looks pretty bad.
We've got 5 more minutes.
This gentleman right here's been waiting.
I want to clarify something. You alluded to earlier that you had a pending sales contract. Do you have a binding sales contract today?
Yeah. No, pending, binding, whatever. It's
You
signed.
have signed a sales contract on the property.
Yes.
When's the closing date?
For how much?
But, how much?
It's private information. I won't even give that information.
It'll be public, yeah.
How much time do you feel you have until maybe the second period right now you have in your contract?
Ma'am, you recording me?
Yes.
Mm-mm.
I'm recording, it's public.
Okay, go ahead, that's fine. I don't mind. For the whole backside, I think there's plus or minus 70. I'll have to look at the exact numbers.
Can you share your due diligence? You have 20 days, 30 days, anything?
I can do some stuff. 25,000 an acre.
Is there an opportunity for you to breach your sales contract and sell to someone else? Without penalties to you?
I'll have to get back to you on it, but I think so.
Because if we were to put together an offer for you, we'd have to be able to get out of your current binding sales contract.
That is correct.
Come on over there.
Yeah.
One at a time, please.
I want to be respectful of the fact that it is your property and it is in your LLC to do with as you please.
Yes.
Okay? I understand that. You cannot control what the next buyer does.
No.
Here's my question. The entirety of the old golf course, what is your hopeful time frame for unloading the entirety of it, whether it's piecemeal or by whole? Like, in your mind, you're like, I want to be rid of it in 2 years, a year, 3 years.
Yesterday.
But realistically, what do you think?
I mean, I can't, I'll have to get back to you. I don't know realistically. I mean, 6 months would be ample time to do just a normal high-level due diligence on something like that.
You're looking to get rid of it.
I see, and I'm glad you all came and we're discussing this.
Are you gonna do this with the golf course? You didn't know everybody was right now too?
I've had several people asking to buy, and I've got in charge of, like you, I've got numerous buyers, but back to what I said earlier, it's checkerboarding, and I'm not gonna sell you a half acre, and you a half acre, and you a half acre, and then be landlocked.
So the solution for us would be to form a small corporation or LLC.
Correct.
And buy it in whole.
Yes.
And we could do shares.
Yes.
Yes,
inside the
yes,
LLC.
yeah. I mean, that's done all the time, all over the country.
How many people in here are fans of changing the transaction and would actually do something rather than just come to a meeting and complain about it? How many people?
How many would buy?
How many would buy?
Hold on. And the real estate agent that's back there, you want to be able to help? This lady right here is trying to put together a list, okay? And then get organized and then meet with them. Is that okay? Is that a reasonable
Yes.
idea?
Yes.
Because otherwise you're gonna be here till midnight. All right? See her after the meeting, sign up, start the process.
Those two tax points.
Can you tell me where I can see?
Whoa!
Can you tell me where I can see the documents about buying sand that
Quiet.
Please. We're talking about selling the whole thing.
and or can you tell me where is the documents that say that people can or cannot dump the wood products?
There are no documents.
Sorry?
There are no documents.
It's his property.
As the owner of those properties, don't you think it would be a good idea to find out who those people are?
I know 3 of them, I don't know the rest.
Brickyard, the middle road. The whole golf course.
We'll move over here a sec. Okay, guys, we need to hold it down to one conversation at a time or we're gonna get nowhere.
So, a couple things. Firstly, we appreciate you doing this. We do some development as well. I'm Eric Berman. I know you have no obligation to tell everybody this and to come out and get ridiculed in front of everyone, so I appreciate you being here and being subject to all of this. So first of all, thank you for coming out and doing that. Secondly, he said he has a pending sales contract. Those are enforceable. So it's not like he can all of a sudden, unless he gets the buyer to also agree, he can't back out of a pending sales contract. Those can be enforced. So it could be too little too late. It's also his private property, so he can do whatever he wants with it. I live on the golf course, and I don't want it to get developed either. Me and my kids, we trespass all the time. They enjoy the walks. But it's not our property, and it's not for us to say. What I can say is, if you don't want the property to get upzoned, you need to be talking to David Bartholomew, and you need to go to county council meetings, and you need to let them know that you don't want the property to get rezoned. That's the only way something happens. Everything else about buying a property, nobody's gonna piecemeal sell a property, because then they can't, all of the other properties become devalued because they become landlocked. You can't get road access, you can't get utilities, you can't develop them. So if you wanna do something, you gotta call David Bartholomew, or send him an email, go to council meetings, and tell them you don't want it to get rezoned.
The problem is, there's no application in for rezoning at this point. So the county, they probably won't hear you unless.
Or let them know that you want green space money to be used to buy.
But if you start the email chain to him to get it going towards the green space and stuff, then that starts the ball rolling. Okay.
Here, I don't know when it happened, but there's a marker, survey marker, right on my back lot, right on the line. Has a flag with a number on it. Then across the green, there's another survey marker with a number on it, with a flag. Then one up, another, how advanced is this? I mean, is this guy already mapping out and calling, identifying lots?
That I don't know if he's identifying lots or not. I know he's being surveyed.
For what? For lots, for sale?
Yeah.
I mean, it's being surveyed for me to sell him the tract of land. I have no idea what he's.
Because you can clearly see it. There's like.
You sure it's not an offset marker?
No, it's one of mine too.
No.
I drove stakes down beside it.
Plotted out the
One little
lots.
flag says
Yeah.
220.
So I haven't seen the survey yet, so I don't know.
It's
Then
common
across-
to survey land when you sell it.
What is it?
It's common to survey land when you sell it. You want a new plat done, regardless of what you're gonna do with the land, it's very common. It doesn't mean you're gonna do anything, it could mean you're doing something, but I sell you my house, it's very common for you to survey the land that I'm on, so that you have an accurate plot of 2025. So that in and of itself is meaningful.
So I can remove it then?
So I would encourage everybody to put your email address on these pieces of paper. And, you know, we can work with Ron and send an update, or you guys can email, if you want to give your email address, Ron, people can email you directly, or they can email the HOA and we can forward information to you.
If you don't have, send it to the address.
All right, so just like Ron said, if he sells, just like Ron said, if he sells the property, and like this gentleman said, it's out of his hands, right? It's gotta go to zoning, it's gotta go down to city council, and that's where you're gonna get involved with the zoning department. So I went ahead and put together a petition about our concerns for them potentially developing the property. So anybody who's against it, obviously, I've got it right here.
I'm the big guy.
Find the big guy, sign the paper, name, address, and date and signature, and we'll start working that avenue and dealing directly with city council and zoning.
I'm all for what you guys want to do. I've been wanting to try to figure out how to do it, but the only real hard feedback I've gotten is the piece behind your house. That's the hard feedback I have gotten.
How much time do you have, Ron?
Let's go 30 days to give some sort of preliminary indication. That should give you all enough time to get together and try to figure it out, and then we'll pump from there. I'm moving forward though with the green space application, but that could take a while. But if they turn it down, or when I tried to get it in the land trust and the initial tranche of dollars for buying the green space stuff, county said I had to bring, like, let's just say it was worth $2 million. I had to go find $1 million person to split it with, to back it and split it with the county. So, and we'll review it.
So waiting on where development?
Huh?
Was the HOA aware of all this that was going on?
I found out when all that Facebook posts.
Well, I found out when the thing hit the next door neighbor.
I'm glad it did.
What? About everybody wanting to buy. Yes, I knew he was going to. I knew he was buying it, and it's not a big deal. It's my property. I can sell it to whomever.
You've got him under contract for what,
17 acres up there. That's 11, 12, 13.
15 years.
All right. Any more relevant questions? All right, 30 days. Okay.
Are you looking for an offer on the 4 holes between Fiddler and Brickyard, or are you looking for something on the entire 18 holes? Or what's left of the 18 holes?
16 left. I mean, ideally, I'd offer for the whole thing. But if we, no, I think I'm going to keep it the whole thing, because I thought about coming off of like Brickyard Road, sort of like 11, 12, and 13, and that ties to 14, 15. 15 comes up to Middle Road. As long as I got egress, ingress, that was something I was looking with split parcels. But if you put together an LLC and consolidate it into a HOA type acquisition, that would be the preferable thing
We have 30 days.
to get back to me and let me know if you guys are seriously interested. I mean, it doesn't take that long to make a decision on.
No, it's improvement. Now you got the fairway stuff. You gotta figure where the